eHarmony dating service at 60 years old? Here's my story. Hey, I'm Fortney, and I'm forging my way towards the finish line in the fourth quarter of life, posting videos along the way. Now, 20 years ago or so, I found myself a bachelor after a long marriage. Now, that's a long story. I'm not going to go into it now. But suffice to say, my kids all love me, and I have a great rapport with them. Now, as far as the dating service goes, now when I was a bachelor maybe for 3 or 4 years, and it wasn't a good lifestyle for me. I wasn't close to God at the time, and I can be kind of self-destructive when I'm on my own, when I'm not supervised. So I spent a lot of time just doing things that really weren't very productive. I spent money I didn't need to spend. I probably drank too much beer during that period of time. And just generally not a positive lifestyle. And I knew for a few years or a short period of time after being single, to have that yoke of oppression off you, it feels pretty good. You know, you do what you want to do when you want to do it. There's not somebody there constantly criticizing you or telling you what to do, when to do it. You can just sit and do nothing if you want to, and nobody's going to hassle you over it. So that's a relief, and it can't be underestimated. But after a while, I knew that that's not how I wanted to spend the rest of my life. Now, during that time, 16, 17 years ago, there were dating services around, but the one that was saturated advertisement on TV and on the internet was eHarmony. Now, what set that apart is this was a paid dating service compared to the other ones that were free. I know there's a lot of them around today, some of which are kind of scary, but this was fairly legit. And since it was a paid dating service, you kind of got the feeling that you were going to, if you wanted to invest the money, you got the feeling that you would probably get a higher quality screened candidate, or a potential match, as they call it. So it wasn't cheap. It was about $39 a month, or you could buy 3 months for $90 or whatever it was back then. I forget. So I took the plunge, and it's kind of neat, actually. It's kind of like buying something on Amazon. You come home from work, pop open your favorite cold beverage, and sit down in front of the computer, and in your email, you get a bunch of so-and-so has requested a match, or this one requested a match. And you would click on it, and you would see all the information on this person, including a picture. Because when you signed up for eHarmony, there was exhaustive forms you had to fill out, and profiles and different things, so that when they sent your picture out to somebody, they had some idea what you were all about, and you weren't going to show up at their front door with a chainsaw in your back pocket running. So the whole eHarmony thing was set up for safety, where people had anonymity, and took a long time before you could even communicate with each other directly. So as I would, and I had been on eHarmony 2 or 3 different times, at least twice, one at a time, and my subscription lapsed, and I go, I'm not going to do that again, too much money. But then after a little while, I missed getting those emails every day. So-and-so has requested a match, and it's kind of neat. You click on it, and it's kind of, you pass judgment on the person. No, not that one. No, not that one. But there's some that if you are interested, you respond, and there's a series of things that have to happen, steps that it goes back and forth between the two people that are potentially going to get to know each other. You know, what's your 5 favorite things? You know, what do you want to be doing in 5 years? Back and forth questions, and then she reads yours, and then you read hers, and you decide if it's you want to take the next step. So that goes on for quite a while, and you know, and then it gets to the point where you can email people back and forth, and you can even set up finally and have a date when both people are comfortable and they've answered the questions to each other's satisfaction. Because at any point along this continuum of communication, one person can hit the match close button, and that's like the that ends it all right then. No questions asked, no more contact. So it's real safe, especially for the women, because anytime that they feel threatened or they really aren't interested in the person, they can go ahead and just hit match close, and that's it, and go on to the next one. So I had a number of dates during my time on eHarmony, but I really wasn't looking to date and just go out and have fun. I wanted to, I was looking for somebody to marry. And if I wanted, and I didn't want to go to the bar scene, because even there are bars at 60s where people go, but that's not for me because it's the whole drink and drive thing, and I didn't want to go through that. So eHarmony was really fun for me because I enjoyed looking at those matches. It's kind of neat to look at people and say, oh, this one's good, that one's not good, and I'm going to go ahead. And so it was fun. I really enjoyed it, even though it was about $30 a month. So eHarmony used to have they'd run promotions, like over a 3-day weekend, they would let people use the service for free. I mean, there were some limitations on it. They didn't have full access, but they could see matches, and they could do some limited communication, but it was just to wet their whistle, so they would want to join. So during my birthday happened to fall on a 3-day weekend, so I was 59, just turning 60. And in the profile, when they ask you for what kind of a person are you looking for, age and things and that, and so you put a range in there, from 55 to 65 or whatever, and different physical traits you want of the people and things like that. So you want to be honest always, because you may wind up seeing this person. You had to submit a picture, and that wasn't easy for me because I had to try to do a selfie with a camera 15 years ago. So it was kind of bizarre, but I managed to get one up there. So during this promotion, during this 3-day promotion, this potential match came across my screen, and I would, I'd look at the people, and some of them you could tell it wasn't even their picture, so I wouldn't bother them. This picture came through with this lady who was, my immediate reaction was not, I'm no Brad Pitt, so I looked at her and I said, too young, too pretty. I'm not even going to try to establish communication with her. Why waste my time? So during that weekend, actually, the person who I rejected as being too pretty and too, over my head, she actually sent me a wink. Now, what a wink was in eHarmony was like, hey, like from across the room, and that person-to-person thing, if a girl winks at you, it shows they might be interested in you. Not that that's ever happened to me, but that's what the wink was. So I found that to be very exhilarating, that this beautiful young lady, who was 6.5 years younger than me, would send me a wink. Now, the one bad thing about that was the weekend that I went from 59 to 60. And I thought to myself, oh man, I don't want her to know that I'm 60. We just won't bring that up. But the dating app actually updated, so she sent in a message, oh, I see somebody had a birthday, And so I felt really embarrassed that now I felt old at 60. I've always been able to pass for about 10 years younger than I am. Even now, I'm 75, I can pass for maybe somebody to 65, as long as people don't see me walking up and down the stairs on my bad knees. So we communicated back and forth, and we finally decided that we would get together and have, we followed the eHarmony procedure, and finally we exchanged phone numbers. We talked on the phone and seemed to hit it off really good. She had a beautiful voice, and still does. And we decided to meet for a meal. Now that was a lot of pressure on me because I just knew I was over my head. But the one trump card that I'd play so I'd look really cool was I happened to have bought a Corvette at that time. Like I said, I spent a lot of money I probably shouldn't have spent. But anyway, so I figured I'd wash my car, make it look really cool, and then I'd meet her, and maybe she'd be impressed, and maybe I wouldn't look like I was 60. So anyway, we met at Applebee's, and we parked, and I knew what she looked like. So I got there first, obviously. I'm glad I didn't take my blood pressure. But then sure enough, I was watching for her. Sure enough, there I see her come walking up. And I thought to myself, oh man, this is going to be a waste of time. Too young, too pretty. So I said, all right, well, I'm here. I'll go through it. It'll be a nice exercise in trying to be debonair and be suave. So we sat down, and there's always that awkwardness, when you first meet somebody, but it really wasn't too bad, We exchanged pleasantries, and And I knew when you had to order something that wasn't real sloppy, like spaghetti or something like that. So I ordered something, I forget what it was, but it was almost bite-sized. And I forget what she ordered, but we talked and we found we had things in common, number of kids that we both had. It wasn't her first marriage, wasn't mine either. So we had a lot in common. And the date seemed to be going pretty good. And I finally relaxed a little bit, thinking to myself, wow, you know, this, even though she'll never go on another date with me, this one's going pretty good. So then during the course of the meal, she reached over and sampled my food, and unsolicited. She asked me if she could, and I go, well, sure, go ahead. Because it's a good thing I ordered something bite-sized and not a sandwich where I had to hand it across to her. So it was pretty good. And so we had a good first date, and then I guess we just said goodnight, and I don't think we kissed or anything on the first date. I don't remember. Maybe we did. I think I had a suave plan to get at least a peck on the cheek out of her, and I think I did do that. So anyway, and so I went home happy that the thing went pretty good, and that I didn't make a total fool out of myself. I didn't know what she was thinking, but I thought it was okay. But I truly expected that she wouldn't want to date me again, but that's okay. I did the best I could. I was myself. So at the time, I was working in the plating business. I was helping run a plating department with a real good friend of mine, and we had about 20 people in there. I don't know if any of you know anything about the plating business, but the people in the plating business are almost as crazy as the people that are in working foundries. I mean, it is a crazy group of people, and it's a hard job, dirty job, dangerous job, and there's a lot of graveyard humor. And some of the most fun I've ever had in my life when I was working, helping my friend run that department in that plating company. There were so many laughs. I just can't go into it now. There'll be so many videos in that. And there was some heartbreak, too. We lost 2 people to cancer. One of them was a very close friend of mine who I'd worked with for 10 years or more. And that was devastating. And another lady there passed to cancer, and she was a wonderful person, too. So there was heartaches, but there was so much fun and laughter. And the people that we worked with were all, I would say, dangerous people. A lot of them were inner city guys, and they had the inner city swag about them, and it was so funny. Got along with them so well, and there were so many funny things that happened. So they knew that I was on this dating service, and they kind of were always interested. Now, I would never kiss and tell, but I mean, I would tell them, oh, I had a date and it didn't go good, or this happened, it didn't go good. But I had told them about the lady, the 2 young one that winked at me. She was a nurse. And so I had told them I had a date with a nurse, and they all said, ooh, watch out for that, watch out for that. You know, it was so much funny. So funny, so many laughs. And then the one guy who was a great guy, but really funny and really kind of a dangerous guy too. I told him about the date, how she ate off my food, ate off my plate. He went like this, dude, that's huge. That's huge. If she ate off your plate, she's interested. That's huge. And so we laughed about that. He's the same guy that later on, as we finally got engaged, I bought her a ring. I thought it was a nice ring. And when I took a picture of it to show the guys, you know, and he goes, oh, that's a great ring. He goes, here's what we'll do. He goes, I'll send one of my guys over. He'll pretend he knocks you both on the ground, takes the ring. You call it in as it was stolen. Then I got the ring I can sell, and you can get a new ring from the insurance company. And he was dead serious, too. And I said, well, I don't know. Let me ask her, because she may not want to do this. So naturally, we weren't going to go into insurance fraud, but I went back and told him. And he goes, oh, if you change your mind, let me know. If you change your mind, let me know. I'll send the guy right over. And I said, no, that's okay. So that was, to this day, it was so funny when he said, she ate off your, I said, oh, she ate off my plate. And he goes, dude, that's huge. It was so funny. Anyway, so we started the date, and I let her know from the very beginning that I wasn't just interested in a casual relationship. I was interested in somebody that I could marry. And I didn't know how she felt about that, but I wanted to let her know. So if she was just in the casual dating business and not ready to get married again, you know, I didn't really want to, you know, waste her time or waste my time. Then it eventually cooled off a little bit. I think maybe she wasn't quite ready to consider marriage yet or anything. And so we kind of didn't see each other for a little while. Now that was hard on me, but I was realistic about it. C'est la vie. Better to have loved and lost than never loved at all. But I never did in eHarmony, when you're done with the person that you've been dating or whatever, you hit the match close. Like I said earlier, that's the nuclear option. That means don't bother me no more. So I never did match close, or I just had fond thoughts about the whole deal, and I rationalized, well, you knew from the beginning, Chris, you were over your head, but maybe you chased her off with marriage talk, or who knows what she was thinking, but things cooled off. So I moved on, and I don't know, I think my eHarmony subscription ran out, and I didn't renew it right then. So life went on, my usual bachelor life. And then, a month or so later, I forget exactly how long it was now, she contacted me again with an email. So I was very surprised to see that, and I was also happy too. So we emailed back and forth a little bit, and I, we kind of explained what my expectations were in the future, and I think she said the same thing. And so I said, if you feel like you want to date again or whatever, just contact me or whatever. I left it up to her. And so she contacted me again, and so we this is before the engagement. This happened before the engagement. So anyway, and then after we started dating again, then we did get engaged, and probably less than a year after we met, and then we got married. So that was 3/25/11. See, I put my anniversary in my email address. That way I can never forget it. So we married, a small ceremony in a judge's chamber, very legal. And so that was in 2011. So we just celebrated our 15th year wedding anniversary, and it's been the best 15 years of my life. Now, I don't know if she'll say the same thing, but I've been trying to be a good husband to her, and we, like in any marriage, we have our ups and downs, and things aren't always perfect, but most marriages aren't. And so we did the best we can. And if you want, I'll actually let you take a peek at her. And so she's going to come into the camera right now, into the frame. Now, why would this beautiful woman have anything to do with me? I have no idea. But she's prayers answered to me. God was merciful. Yes, she's got a sense of humor too. All right. So that's my eHarmony story. Now, if you have an eHarmony story, I'd love to hear it. Put it in the comments below. And if you have an electroplating story, working in the plating business, I'd even like to hear that more. So put that down below too. So I have other videos on the channel. Check them out if you want. But look at that beautiful woman.
Oh, thank you.
How lucky am I? All right. So until next time, this is 14 the 4 saying check back. Let's interact. And always remember, God has your back.